Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Movie Blues. Today on the show we're going to be looking at video games for the first time ever on this channel. However, if you are familiar with my content so far, you can probably assume that these aren't going to be the kinds of brain rot mobile games that your 5-year-old nephew with a gluten allergy plays on his iPad while he's having a booger-faced stim attack. These are the kinds of games that adults with crushing financial woes and a soulless 9-to-5 grind play in the dark after work to existentially terrify themselves into believing that there are scarier things out there than a 2-hour Teams meeting about phishing scams.
No.
Yes, this will be a list of horror games in a new ongoing series that explores the darkest and most nightmare-inducing video games ever made. These are some of the video games that have left a lasting dark impression on my psyche. Games that tested my will and my fear factor nearly beyond comprehension. Before you go wondering, I captured all of this in-game footage and screenshots myself in between changing my soiled diaper out of unadulterated fear. Without further ado, here are the horror games that you need to be playing now.
Mundaun.
Ever wondered what the movie Midsommar would be like if it was made by a German expressionist who is suffering from night terrors? That would be a really specific thing to wonder. I assume you're not wondering that. You've never wondered that. I've never wondered. All right. Mundaun is a hand-drawn nightmare, a first-person exploration and puzzle game that is as surreal as a Federico Fellini film and as haunting as an A24 movie.
Belinda.
No, I mean one of the actually good ones, like Hereditary or Talk to Me or some shit. Pick one. Mundaun is yet another indie-style classic from Annapurna Studios. A rare and unique nightmare that follows your character, Kurdin, as he returns to his grandfather's hometown for his funeral after he was tragically and mysteriously killed in a fire. And very quickly, your trip back to your hometown becomes an unforgettable nightmare. Mundaun is lovingly crafted in a 2D sketchbook art style, which was achieved by the devs actually scanning sketchbook drawings and applying them to 3D models in the game. The town of Mundaun sits nestled beneath a foreboding and ominous mountain, which you will eventually have to slowly scale throughout several days and nights of terror that make up the time period of this game. The town itself has this sun-choked, mysterious, and truly isolated vibe that only increases as the plot of the game slowly unravels. At first, the quaint town of Mundaun has a nostalgic, childhood aura to it that plays with your sense of safety and encourages you to explore, while enjoying the serene yet ominous surroundings. Soon, you'll discover that there is a simple day-night cycle to the game that only activates when you return to your house each day and decide to go to sleep. Once night falls over Mundaun, the environment unleashes a horde of new mysteries and a fresh hell that turns the village into a killing ground brought to life in two-dimensional black and white terror. Mundaun is a game that you really want to explore, sit in, and really drink in. If not for the monsters beating down your door or the necessity to solve your grandfather's murder, this would actually be a kind of relaxing game to just chill out in. The sense of peace and serenity that prevails in the game during the daytime slowly bleeds into the terrors that come out at night, leaving the game utterly devoid of safe spaces as you begin your ascent up the looming mountain that hangs over the town. In the later half of the game, a fight for survival and new terrors around every corner turn the once tranquil walking sim into a desperate and unforgettable fight for survival. You'll never forget the first time that you enter the tunnel above the town to begin your climb up the mountain, and you'll surely never forget the fever pitch the game reaches once you finally are up against the full demonic force that has infested the residence and setting you once called home. Mundaun is a gorgeously animated game that will stick in your psyche long after you put the sticks down. A folk tale rich with horror and familial trauma, Mundaun is a truly unique and simply unforgettable game that will grip you with fear while beckoning you to keep exploring, and to keep uncovering the dark truths that led you back to your nostalgically haunted birthplace. A truly special horror game unlike anything you've ever seen before, unless you play it on Nintendo Switch. Then you're gonna see things probably the game devs never wanted you to see because they look like shit. Overall, this is a very rich game with a fantastic setting and some truly involving and hypnotic vocal performances from the actors as well. A surreal, unnerving 2D first-person masterpiece.
Subnautica.
We all know that fear is subjective. This is something I won't try to argue you out of, but using this logic, I'd like to introduce the next game, Subnautica, which is the scariest video game I've ever played in my life.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now!
It doesn't take much more than a few minutes of scrolling through horror shorts on YouTube to see that millions of people on planet Earth are absolutely riddled with thalassophobia. By definition, thalassophobia is the persistent and intense fear of deep bodies of water, such as the ocean, seas, or lakes. It can include fears of being in deep bodies of water, the vastness of the sea waves, aquatic animals, and great distances from land as well. And if all of the included fears that fall under the umbrella of thalassophobia were distilled purely into one single video game, then that video game surely is Subnautica. Subnautica is a survival action-adventure game set in an open-world environment and played from a first-person perspective. The player controls the lone survivor of the crashed spacecraft known as the Aurora, Riley Robinson, as he is stranded on a remote ocean planet known as 4546b. And sure, the initial crash is a nail-biting and terrifying experience. But the true terror begins when you exit your crashed escape pod and get your first panoramic view of the world you've crashed on. And yeah, you're seeing it right. Planet 4546b is just one endless ocean.
What?
Yeah.
Man, hell no. Hell no.
As the game begins, you start in a relatively peaceful biome. The creatures of this starting biome are slightly nightmarish deviations on cute, cuddly ocean animals like seahorses and manatees. Big, farting manatees. There's a strange tranquility to the beginning of Subnautica, as you begin to learn the endless grind of collecting rocks, minerals, and ore deposits from the ocean floor, which you will use to craft the various bases, materials, and eventually large-scale vehicles that you will use in your exploration of this horrifying and unknowable ocean world. At first, everything seems hunky-dory on 4546b, and if not for the constant scrambling to the surface to make sure that you don't drown and run out of oxygen, things wouldn't really be that terrifying in this game at all. Until you start to explore the world a little further, and by further, I mean deeper. Because as the game continues, as your ability to reach lower and lower into the endless chasms of the world seem to only deepen, the true horrors begin to surface. You will never, ever live down your first encounter with one of the many Leviathan monsters that inhabit this endless ocean. But one thing is for certain, once you get a glimpse of what lies in the shadows and murky depths of the deeper parts of 4546b in Subnautica, you will never feel safe again.
I don't even want to be around anymore.
What?
Subnautica rewards you with better vehicles, better base building tools, and better weapons to fight the predators of this horrifying environment. But no amount of gear or goods will prepare you for the terrors that will haunt the endless abyss before you. The deeper you go, the more you uncover, the more you will feel fear spread across every cell in your genetic makeup. Subnautica begins as a somewhat peaceful survival diving sim and then careens into a nightmare world of unknowable depth. The shadows of Lovecraftian monsters and the notion that you're being choked, chased, suffocated, and drowned in an endless chasm of terror. You simply cannot fathom how deep this world goes, as biome after biome reveal themselves the further down you force yourself to go. And you will be forcing yourself, because every bone in my body screamed out to me to just stop and explore no further. After being mauled and ingested by every thalassophobic creature in existence, you'll find yourself positively rattled to the core, as the game demands you still plunge further and further into its unknowable depths. No joke, you will have to take your most valuable vehicles, your entire collection of goods you've collected over hundreds of hours, and everything you've worked so hard for, down into a hole, through a chasm, across an abyss, and nearly into the center core of the planet, which is brimming with monsters so horrific that you may end up quitting this game before it totally derails your sleep cycle. I mean, there are awesome plot reveals, twists, and incredible discoveries throughout this game that I'm surely not going to spoil here in this video, but trust me, 4546b is not exactly the planet that you think it is right off the bat, and it will keep showing you and taking you to places that you will hardly believe. It's also a game with a fantastic and unique base building system. I mean, check out my palace that I spent probably 200 hours constructing just to have a home to call my own on this aquatic nightmare world. I mean, I even figured out how to base build out of the water onto land just so that I didn't have to spend all of my time in this horrifying ocean. And yeah, I mean, I could hang out in this bad boy all day regardless of the multitude of nightmares swimming beneath me. All in all, Subnautica is a rewarding, horrifying, and truly unforgettable game experience that will force you to conquer your fear of the aquatic unknown, whether you want to or not. This game has a fantastic semi-sequel called Subnautica Below Zero, which is a brief but awesome game as well. And you'll want to play this game as soon as possible, because a fully fledged sequel to Subnautica will be coming out later this year to make you terrified of the ocean all over again. Subnautica is the ultimate game for oceanic horror, a masterpiece that demands you power up your submarine and plunge yourself into the crushing depths and emotional turmoil caused by an endless ocean of horror.
Dreamcore.
Fans of liminal spaces rejoice, because Dreamcore is one of the most accurate, unsettling, and truly liminal of all spaces out there. Liminal space content is a relatively new genre of horror, combining the best of creepypasta-esque internet series like The Backrooms with low-key psychological torture. For those unfamiliar with the world of liminal spaces, research from the Journal of Environmental Psychology has defined liminal spaces as areas that may appear eerie or strange because they fall into an uncanny valley of architecture and physical places. Are you scared of a seemingly endless water park or an eternally twisting, infinite suburban neighborhood? Well, specific, I know, but I've got the game for you. There are no spooks or specters to be found in this game, no real jump scares or antagonists other than the crushing weight of curiosity and confusion caused by the human brain. Instead, Dreamcore presents two several-hour-long levels where your greatest enemy is the endless yawn of the unknown. This game has 3 more massive levels planned for release in the oncoming year, but as for now, the 2 available levels, Dream Pools and Eternal Suburbia, are enough nightmare fuel to please any fan of liminal horror. So, if there are no enemies, if there are no jump scares or objectives or even any characters or any dialogue whatsoever, then what is so goddamn scary about Dreamcore? It's all about fear of the unknown. You don't know why this water park or this neighborhood is seemingly endless and vacated. With very little clues and no dialogue whatsoever, you're never going to find out either. This first level, Dream Pools, features a labyrinthian water park, where the rooms keep getting bigger, stranger, and emptier as the level rolls on. All you have to keep you company is the din of your shoes slapping against wet linoleum, the echoes of which bounce off empty walls and ring in your ears as you sprint for what feels like 10 or so miles of liminal hell. A true homage to the found footage-esque genre that these stories come from, Dreamcore equips you with a VHS-style camcorder with a basic zoom function, although the camera itself is never explained or used in any useful way whatsoever. There are moments, developments, and a few surprises along the way here. And while you think that that might sound boring, don't worry, because your brain is going to be doing all the heavy lifting when it comes to absolutely creeping yourself out. You'll always suspect that something is going to finally jump out at you. You'll always be wondering if something is right behind you, and you'll never stop imagining and building the reasoning and explanation behind the vacant world that you are truly lost in. The second level of the game, Eternal Suburbia, holds a lot more surprises and sections to the level that I will not dare spoil here. But while the first level is just endless madness, the second level has a way of truly getting under your skin. Eternal Suburbia is a confronting experience in all ways. It's disorienting, it's claustrophobic, and at one point of this level, I got so miserably lost that I felt my whole body descend into this low-level panic that did not subside for over an hour. But that's the point. That is the fear. It's the sense of the unknown, and the crushing weight of being inescapably lost. Dreamcore is a game that should be used in serious psychological tests, a true horror experience that will test your will and patience while subtly torturing you with its mysteries and gaping level design. I'll be absolutely elated to play more levels of this game from the dev team in the oncoming months, including a preview for what looks like an abandoned mall level. Particularly exciting considering my favorite Backrooms movie of all time, The Oldest View, from filmmaker and content creator Kane Pixels, takes place in this exact setting. I mean, I discussed that film on my last list of found footage gems on this channel, and as time goes on, it seems as if I am getting more and more interested in the world of liminal space horror, a genre that I didn't really take seriously, but one that effectively contorts nostalgia, mystery, and unknowable space into a deadly cocktail of psychological dread. If any of this perks your interests, you owe it to yourself to play this game immediately, especially considering that it's available in most game stores for less than $10. Dreamcore is a deep, burrowing brain game that is as unsettling as it is eerily familiar. Check it out now.
Forgive me, Father.
Say it with me, guys. H.P. Lovecraft Doom clone. Sold. I mean, it's clear I've been sold on it. I bought the game. You're gonna be the one saying sold. I'm gonna describe it, then you're gonna say sold. Sold. Forgive Me, Father is the eldritch Doom-like that you never knew that you needed. Tackle a bevy of awesome levels in increasingly Lovecraftian locations throughout the course of this positively nail-biting game. If you've watched my channel lately, you'll know that H.P. Lovecraft's name is something that is constantly coming up around these parts. And not his cat's name. Don't look up his cat's name. Thank you. So I felt right at home in this first-person bloodbath featuring all manners of aquatic malformations, interesting story nuggets scattered throughout each level telling of an increasingly wild story using many of the horror elements found in Lovecraft's lore, and a battalion of uniquely varied and terrifying monsters to do battle with. Once again, like Mundaun earlier on this list, Forgive Me, Father has a very unique 2D art style. The character designs have this uncanny movement cycle that uses motion blur to cause some truly unsettling moments in the game. And while the 2D style won't be everyone's cup of tea, it's a great way to honor 2D FPS games of the past while also being able to adopt a visual style reminiscent of the illustrations that you'd find in adaptations of Lovecraft's work. But you won't spend too much time admiring the scenery, because Forgive Me, Father's gameplay is absolutely butt-clenching. A lot like Doom Eternal and Doom 2016, you'll constantly be in a state of frenzied strafing, fighting every second of your life to find purchase as hordes of monsters overwhelm you time and again. The fear of playing this game comes down to its brutalizing gameplay, keeping you forever on the edge of your seat as you strategize which mythical powers to use and what weapons to wield while hosing down torrents of Lovecraftian menace. Couple that with an awesome upgrade system to your player and arsenal, including some amazing Lovecraftian remixes to your guns like this absolute unit of a tentacle shotgun. And yeah, you've got a hell of an action horror game here with tons of replay value and a truly crunchy fighting system. Truth be told, I have not played the sequel to this game yet, but it looks awesome, and it's getting ported to consoles this fall. If you love FPS Doom clones, or you love H.P. Lovecraft, or you just love horror in general, then you cannot go wrong with Forgive Me, Father.
No one lives under the lighthouse.
Do you hate your job and find it extremely monotonous and terrible, like I might? Then I got a game for you that might make you feel better about your current employment situation. Honestly, I never thought that in 2025 I'd be feeling nostalgia for the polygonally fucked graphics of the PS1 era. And yet, here we are. Feeling like a cursed 1997 game adaptation of Robert Eggers' film The Lighthouse, this indie romp puts you into the muddy boots of a lone lighthouse operator for 3 in-game days that start mysteriously and end horrifically. The plot here is simple, with the last lighthouse operator disappearing under mysterious circumstances, and now you've been sent to this eerie island as his replacement. Soon enough, you'll discover that this island and the lighthouse itself are acting as a beacon to attract all sorts of eldritch invaders who quickly start derailing your new employment. While the game clocked in at under 2 hours, and includes little to no instruction, and was so vague that I honestly had to play it again to just reach the finish line in the way that the devs intended, I still found this to be a really memorable experience overall. Between the monotonous tasks of the average lighthouse keeper, I'd find myself just vibing on the island, soaking in the cheapskate graphics and ominous vibes just to spook myself out and chill. This is an interesting, simplistic, highly atmospheric little slice of horror that felt like the cross-section between the game Silent Hill and the movie Annihilation. And while the game wasn't exactly intuitive and required me to give it a second playthrough just because I fucked my job up so badly the first time, it's still a game worth checking out and creeping yourself out to. Fans of the classic literary Lovecraftian dread and lovers of low-quality, limited graphics will eat this game up. No, literally, you will eat it up. I mean, my second playthrough clocked in at 48 minutes. Regardless, check this one out for something uniquely creepy and nostalgically haunting.
Aliens Fireteam Elite and Predator Hunting Grounds.
Now that we've looked at some unique indie games, a walking sim, and even a Doom-style shooter, I want to finish this list by throwing in my hat on some of my favorite multiplayer horror experiences out right now. From The Evil Dead and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre to even Friday the 13th, some of the best horror franchises from the 1980s have found their footing in modern-day gaming with asymmetrical horror formulas and multiplayer madness. These are multiplayer games that typically involve players with different classes and weapons facing off against player-controlled villains like Jason Voorhees or even the killer clowns from outer space. For my money, 2 of the best horror multiplayer experiences out there right now are based on 2 of my favorite franchises of all time, Alien and Predator. So why are we including both Aliens Fireteam Elite and Predator Hunting Grounds in the same listing here? Because both of these games are sterling representations of the movies that they're based on. Aliens Fireteam Elite will get you as close to the cigar-chomping, bug-stomping Marines from Aliens as you'll ever see in a video game. And Predator Hunting Grounds is so accurate to the vibe of 1987's Predator that it almost feels like a simulator of the movie itself. Not only are these games a ton of fun, but they recreate and simulate aspects of their film franchises in ways that we've never seen before.
Clear position and protect the body at all costs. We will in an unprepared for extraction. Here are the evidence.
Fireteam Elite, for example, is the only game so far in the Alien franchise to take a bite out of the Ridley Scott prequel films, which I love, and screw you if you don't. Jesus. Mixing the high-octane action of Aliens with the mysterious and fascinating dread of the engineer lore that set the prequels apart from the main series. It's so awesome to be decimating xenomorphs with a pulse rifle amidst the looming idols of the engineer civilization. And even more awesome to spend about a third of this game battling black goo mutations like you're in Prometheus on steroids. For Predator Hunting Grounds, the asymmetrical multiplayer model puts you against another real-life gamer playing as the Predator, giving us a situation for the first time in gaming where you truly feel like you're being hunted by an alien menace that seems to know what you're going to do before you even do it. That's because the guys who are playing the Predators have played as Marines, and they know what you're up to and what you're probably planning, and that's way different than just the Predators that would show up in the AVP PC games and run around in circles while you just shot them in the head. Each level begins much like the plot of 1987's Predator, with a phalanx of mercs and marines facing off against guerrilla militias in a verdant green battle zone. And I was kind of worried that the fighting other people part of this game was going to be terrible, but it's also super bloody and the gameplay super crunchy, and it's just a ton of fun, even when the Predator's not around. In fact, kind of like it when whoever's playing the Predator sucks so much that they barely show up, because it's fun to just run these missions. But if the guy who's playing the Predator knows what he's doing, then each level, as it crawls to its conclusion, you'll start to see and feel the presence of the titular hunter as he stalks the trees above you. waiting for his opportunity to strike. There is a helpless, terrifying quality to being stalked by the Predator in this game, recreating the fever pitch and panic that the Commandos felt in this movie when things finally went south. Both of these games are not only a blast to play, but they're both positively brimming with Easter eggs. Fireteam Elite has all the environments, weapons, and creatures from the Alien series recreated with care and precision. I'll never forget the first time in this game when you finally see the derelict donut ship from the Alien series in all of its majesty. Or when you find yourself inside engineer structures that look ripped straight out of Alien Covenant. Predator Hunting Grounds recreates the sound, music, and mood of the Predator franchise perfectly. I mean, this main menu music remix of the Predator theme is an absolute rock-solid bop. It's also a game that has tons of familiar customization options, with Arnold's Dutch as a fully voiced playable character, and the weapons from the films themselves, like Jesse Ventura's chain gun and Dutch's assault rifle, recreated perfectly here. Hell, you even get the Predator mask that Lawrence Fishburne wears in the Robert Rodriguez film Predators. Although, to be honest, I gotta hit level 240 before unlocking this goddamn thing, which equates to like 500 hours of gameplay. As a lifelong fan of Alien and Predator video games, all the way from Predator Concrete Jungle on Xbox to the original AVP games on PC, these two games feel like pure wish fulfillment. Fireteam Elite is especially worth every penny here, with several DLC campaigns and a truly meaty series of levels to battle through with friends or solo. Fireteam Elite touches on every corner of the Alien universe in awesome ways, with remixes on what you may already be familiar with as well. Like, not only is there an Alien Queen level that does a great job of recreating the tension and panic around Ripley's face-off with Her Majesty in Aliens, but as if that's not enough, you end up battling a black goo mutated queen in the center of a neomorph hive during the Pathogen campaign. I mean, this is just awesome. Predator Hunting Grounds puts a huge emphasis on weapons, upgrades, and especially cosmetics for the Predator here. Not only can you make your Predator look like the Feral from Prey, but you can make him look like a ninja or a Viking or a goddamn samurai warrior too. Both games have gory, blood-spraying action that puts you up against aliens and predators in ways that we could have only imagined as kids, recreating not only the aesthetics of the movies they're based on, but the tension and the overall dread that the best of these series deliver in their most successful entries. Both games have crystal clear, next-gen graphics, especially Predator Hunting Grounds, which just got a total visual and performance overhaul for its premiere on Xbox a few months ago. Can't even say which one of these games I like more, with literally hundreds of hours that I've dumped into both of these titles over the past few years. I played these games into the dirt, into ash, into absolute nothingness. And that's a compliment, because both of these games have incredible replay value. With the unpredictability of multiplayer games, both of these titles have tons of variety, and you'll never end up playing the same level the same way twice. In a world where we now have a good RoboCop game and a good Terminator game, it's only right that we finally have two defining gaming options for two of the best R-rated franchises from the 80s, right at our fingertips. I cannot recommend these games highly enough, and hopefully this section of the video will push some of you to take the plunge into both of these fantastic, gory, and pulse-pounding gaming experiences that transport you into some of the greatest sci-fi action films in history. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I open the floor to you once again. What are your favorite horror games in recent memory or from your childhood? Let's get nostalgic with it. Let's recommend some new ones to each other. I want to see what you're playing. I want to see what you've played. I want to talk about what I've been playing. Let's just keep this going, all right? Long story short, I had a lot of fun putting this video together, and I would love to do more video game related videos. So if you like this, leave a comment, leave a like. Remember to subscribe to the channel. And with that, I am DS Lyons of the Movie Blues. I hope to be seeing you guys again very soon. And a hearty and healthy bye-bye!
Cause I love you, and I love you, and I love you, and I've seen all your movies, and I love your movies, and I think you're the best.